This video is for Eleanor at Ways to Move. I know you've got some experience of WordPress anyway, Eleanor, so what I normally do is I have two screens open, two tabs. One where I've logged into the back of the website, and this one here where I've got the front of the website so I can quickly see any changes and the things I want to change there. Okay, if we go into the back, so let's go to all pages. I'll just show you the basics for now. Right, so you can see they're all Divi pages, they're all using the Divi builder. And this one here says front page, so you know that's your front page. So let's have a look at that, Rethinking Movement for Vitality. Click on the heading, which will open the page up. Now what you'll see here, everything is in boxes. The outside blue ones are sections, which means it goes from one side of the page to the other. So that's where you would, for instance, put a different coloured background that you wanted to go right across the screen. The green ones are rows. Now the rows that you can have up to 6 columns in them, but I would never advise going for more than 4 columns. Let's have a look on the front here. You can see this is a 3-column row. This is a 2-column where there's 1/3 and 2/3. Now the easiest way, I find, it's entirely up to you how you want to work with it. You'll see here that every single section, row, has modules in them. Now those would be text modules, or they would be image modules, or various other ones that we've got, like a button module. You open them by clicking on the cog on the grey. So, and as you hover over it, it says module settings. So you'd open that up. That's your text. You've got two ways of doing this. You can either work in text or visual. Now I work in text for the simple reason, particularly if you're copying and pasting things, you can pick up formatting of text from a Word document and stuff which will display wrongly. This gives me more control, and also the visual is supposed to be what you see is what you get, and trust me, it isn't always. If you do use the visual there, always go back to text before you finish and save. And you save any of the modules changes you've made by clicking the green box, the white tick there. That's not enough to save the page though, so once you've done that, go over to publish, green button there, update, and you click on that. Now there's a different way of working, so you can work on the front end. By the way, never ever click return to standard editor, and don't click build on the front end. You'll see some icons here. Click on this desktop one. There's desktop, tablet and mobile. If you click on the desktop, you'll see it actually shows you exactly what it's like on the front of the site. It works in exactly the same way with the blocks and sections. When you start hovering, don't just click randomly. Just hover your mouse over it. You'll see here that's the blue, which is the section which has got your image in here. The green is the row, is the 1-column row where I've centered the text. And again, to open any of those modules, you hover over it, click the little cog icon, and that will open it there. There's different things you can do with text, and be very careful about making heading text. You should only ever have one H1, and that should always be at the top of the page. That's what tells Google what the page is about. But you'll see here, once you actually get yourself familiar with this, you'll see here you've got a design tab, and here you can change things like, I mean, this is a heading, so we'd go to heading text, and it's an H1. It defaults to 41 pixels in size. You can change that, but when you do change it, this little icon, and it's the same for all of them, looks like a mobile, so click that and you'll see you've got desktop, you've got tablet, and you've got phone. So on a desktop, for instance, that's 41 pixels. Tablet, you can change that to make it smaller. Now on a phone, that's the most important one, and it will show you here what it looks like on each of those devices. You may set a text size on the desktop, forget all about the mobile, and then find out that the text is way too big. So here you can change it. It's whatever the value is with PX following it. Okay, that's a text module. Text modules are pretty straightforward. Images are more difficult. They work in the same way. They're a module. You click on them and that's the image. If you want to change that image, you use this little delete bin button, then you click this space and it would take you, I'm going to do it but I'm not going to take the image off, straight into your media library where your images are stored. If you want a new image, you click upload files, select files, go to your computer and find the image you want, which will upload it. We're not going to do that because we've already got the image that we want there. This image, this little button would then become green if it's a new image, and you just do upload an image. I'll X that out as we don't need it, and it would change that image there. What you have to be careful of is nothing will resize or crop to match what you want, so you've got to make sure each image is exactly the same size. Now I'll just quickly show you before I show you some images in the media library. This is a button, and I've noticed we don't have your PayPal link for that button, so we open that button link. It's got buy now. This is where you would put the link, not PayPal code, just the link to PayPal, and you'd put it there. Design, you can have alignment, it could be to the left. Obviously we need this centered. Just be a little bit careful with what you're doing and make sure you see exactly what they look like on tablets and mobiles. Same process, click the tick in the green box. Now when you've finished on this visual way of doing things, the other thing that I should say, when you're using a text, see, we've got two text modules there, one for the purple text heading that I've put there, one for this one. You've got the option, just like with blog posts, to add an image. Don't do that. Don't do it that way. On pages, always use an image module if you're going to add images. The reason being, you can upload, like I've seen people do in blogs, a very small image. On a mobile, the text will wrap around it in really weird ways, so you keep everything separate. Right. So when you're finished with the page, you click save there. Depending on your internet speed, the circle will tell you the progress. Give it a chance to actually finish. You'll see there, page updated, view page. I prefer to do it on the front. I would just go to whatever page, like the About Me page, and change that. Now with the images, go to your media library. If you want to replace an image, like with these ones on the home page where they're all the same size, then you've got to use an image editor before you upload the image to make sure it is the same size as the others. How you would find that out in the media library, let's click on this one which is on the front. It gives you a description here about the image itself. And you'll see there the dimensions are 650 by 433 pixels high. If you're going to edit and add a new image, when it's in a column like that, so that it keeps nice and even and neat, you need it to be exactly that, 650 by 433. Now, one thing you asked about was, I think, adding more testimonials. Right, the best way to do that, have a look at these ones on flowing ribbons. Go to the page, flowing ribbons, have a look at it in desktop. Right, you'll see there we've got all these different testimonial modules. To duplicate one, either at the top, anywhere you like, or at the bottom, when you hover over it, next to the cog, you've got this. When you hover over that, it says duplicate module. So we'll do that. It will give you exactly, excuse me, the same one as the one above. So then you can edit one with changes. So click on the cog, change the name of the person. It's got company there, but on yours we've used the location just so that you've got a different place for it. Delete what's in the text box. Put your new testimonial in there. Then you would use visual on this. What you would do is highlight it, press I for italic, just to give you that italic feel, and then text. Always finish on text, just so that it doesn't throw the formatting out, and save it. And in this case, I'm not really going to put that one there, so I'll delete it. And to do that, you hover over it, go to the delete, go back up to the button, save. Now what I would suggest to do, just so that you can get familiar yourself and learn about some of these things, is to make a test page. So up here you've got edit page, add a new one, and we call it a test. This is the only time on a new page that you do click the buttons here. Use the Divi Builder. You need to use that to keep it with the rest of the site. Now you've got a few options once you've clicked on that and it's settled down. Gives you three options: build from scratch, browse layouts, don't worry about that one, or choose a page. So you can duplicate any other page on your site. Click choose page, it's got your existing pages, and let's say we're going to duplicate the About Me page. The handy bit of this is if you add a new page, then all you've got to do, if you like the layout that's on one of your others, go to desktop. You've got everything that's on the About page, but you can now change the text to what you want for the new page. You can change images. Now, because this is a test page, I can show you this. We've got your image in a layout that's a quarter of the row and 3/4 for the text. You can change that by the settings for the row. You see here it's a quarter and 3/4. Click on this. You can make that into 3/3 if you've got 3 lots of text, or you can alright, that's 3/4 and 1/4. You see how ridiculous that would look, but just gives you an idea. And if you want to add another row, remember the new row that you add will stay in that section there. If you want it in this section, you'd add a new row to this section. So add a row, and here you'll see you've got the choice of the number of columns. I would honestly suggest you never go for 5 or 6. Main reason being, as screens get smaller, everything has to tumble under each other, and you've got 6 columns trying to tumble under each other, and you'll be able to put very little content in either of them. 4 is the maximum that I ever use. Now, when you've finished with this and playing around with it, I mean, you can change the colours. Let's look at the background one there. That's the background colour, which is that sort of mint green. You can change that in any way you want. Here you can put an image in the background, upload an image. You can do it one of 2 ways. You can do it so that it's static, doesn't move. You can do parallax, true parallax, or CSS. What that means is everything rides up over it. Obviously, when you put an image in like that, your text, which is dark, isn't going to show up on it. So these are all things just to have a play around with and get used to it. As this isn't a real page, you don't want it published because Google will pick that up and think you've got duplicate content. So instead of publish, save it as a draft. That way nobody else can access it, it's just for your own purposes. And anytime you want to go back to that page to play around with or try some new modules out, just go to all pages and go to a test, and it's got draft written by it. One other thing is, every time you log out, always go up to the top corner and click log out, just to keep everything safe.